make more money selling your art than you do in your job. Let's be honest, most of us, we don't want to have a 9 to 5. We don't want to have a job, but we need to pay our bills. And our dream is to make a living from art, quit our job and make even more money. I talk to a lot of artists. Many artists, they want to make like 20,000 a year, or they have very small goals. But let's be honest, is this really exciting for you? Or would you rather make more money than in your job? Wouldn't that be exciting? That's exactly what I've done. I made 3 or 4 times more than I did in my job with my art. And I quit my job in 2020. So I'm going to share with you the things that I did to make that happen, to quit my job and make more money than in my day job. And my job, by the way, was very intense. I worked sometimes like more than 100%. I worked on weekends. It was very, very intense. But I knew one thing, that I had a dream and I wanted to make this dream a reality. So I've done everything that I could. I got my hands on any information that I could find back then on how to sell art. And back then there was not even that much out there. Today, you have more information on how you can actually make that happen, but that can also come with overwhelm. And I know that a lot of artists, they are very overwhelmed because you try out different things. You throw things at the wall, hope that something will stick. You work on your website, you look for galleries, you figure out different strategies, but you're still unsure on how actually to do it, right? You don't have a clear plan or system. And that's actually one of the biggest mistakes that artists make. They don't have a clear plan and the system. They have a dream which is very blurred, very far away. It's not even tangible. They don't even fully believe it. And then they're just doing tons of different things, but no system or plan that's actually proven to work. And what do I mean by proven to work? I mean a system, a plan that someone used before you, an artist that made it successful, an artist that sold his work, became successful, quit his job, all the things that you want. So one of the first things you have to learn is learn from artists that already have done it. I've sold over 200,000 worth of my art, and my business partner, Maria Brophy, she sold millions in art. And together we actually created a community for artists on how to learn these things, how to do the same. If you want to check that out, the link is in the description. But let's continue. How do you make more money with your art than in your job? First, you have to define how much would you need to make more. If you make 6,000 a month from your job right now, set a goal of making 7,000 or 8,000. And you need to have this little buffer because when you live from your art, you are self-employed, you're a business owner, you have in your own business, you have more costs than you had in your job. So you actually need to make more in order to have the same kind of lifestyle. But one thing is for sure, you're going to live a much more beautiful, happier life because you actually do what you want. But I would still not plan it small. I wouldn't say like I make 6,000 from my job, but it would be nice to make 4,000 or 5,000 from my art. Might be a good start, but what's your real goal? What's your real number that you want to achieve? Then the second thing is don't aim too high, right? If you make 5,000 in your job, don't aim for like 20K a month from your art. That's quite high. You eventually get there because other artists are doing that. But set a goal that excites you but doesn't scare you. That's not too far away that you feel paralyzed, because a lot of artists, they feel paralyzed. You have to start where you're at. But let's say you're starting at the beginning, you don't have a real strategy, you don't really know what to do. You're trying a lot of things, you're frustrated, and you want to make it happen. So where to start? If you're just starting out, Facebook is the best strategy. I know I talk about this a lot, but it's true. Because on Facebook, you don't need to fight with the algorithm. You don't need to learn the algorithm. All you need to do is like have a Facebook profile, a private Facebook profile. Know why you're creating art. What's your purpose as an artist? And that's very easily defined. Ask yourself, why do you create art? Like, how did all of this start? And write down a lot. Like, just go a little bit deep. Dream, reflect. You can also speak into ChatGPT, which helps me a lot. When I'm confused or I'm not clear on something, I speak into ChatGPT so much. And it reflects back to me what I said. So you can use that. You can use ChatGPT to become clear about your purpose. Just talk to ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT as well. Ask me questions to figure out my purpose as an artist. Why do I create art? Ask me really good questions so I can go really deep and figure out my purpose as an artist. You can start like this and then answer the question that ChatGPT is giving you. And then just speak them into ChatGPT and see what comes out. And just speak, go for a walk. And do this for 15, 20 minutes, however long you need in order to gain some clarity, and ask ChatGPT to reflect back to you what you said and then read it. Number 2, if you have your purpose as an artist, define your ideal customer based on this purpose, because people buy art because out of emotional reasons. It's not a logical decision. It's not something they need, but people are buying art and they can buy your art. right? If you can make them feel something, and you do that in the best way through your purpose. And many artists struggle about like, what do I talk about? Or what stories to tell? It's going to be way easier if you have your purpose as an artist, not based on your series, because that's another thing. So it's like really like you as an artist, who are you? Why do you create art? What's your purpose? What's the legacy, let's say, that you want to leave in the world? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? If you have this foundation, it's going to be so much easier to talk to people, share your stories on social media, specifically on Facebook, and inspire people and make them feel something, because that's when they will start buying your art. If you have that, if you have your ideal customer that's defined based on your purpose as an artist, that's when you can look for them. That's when you can ask yourself, like, what communities can I join? What events can I join? What groups can I join? Where is my ideal customer already hanging out? That's your question, basically. And if we take Facebook as the tool, as the strategy, as the plan, then you need to go on Facebook, type into the search bar all the things that you came up with, the keywords. For example, and here's a very important thing before we do that. If you come up with like spirituality, meditation, shamanism, yoga, all these things, it's a good start, but it's not specific enough, because if you find groups like this, which you will, they are quite big and broad, and you will see most of the groups will be not high quality. There are lots of spammers, quotes, there's no real conversation, there's no real community feeling, and that's a problem. You need to find groups where you have this real community feeling, high quality groups with real people that really care about this community. So you need to think deeper. Let's say it is spirituality. Then it's like, how can you think outside of the box? What is more specific than spirituality? And it could be authors. That's something I did. I was thinking about authors within that subject. And funny thing, lots of amazing high quality groups, because some authors or coaches, mentors, they already build high quality communities. And by the way, there are millions of groups on Facebook. So you cannot tell me that you're not going to find any groups. Okay, so that's very important. And you really have to sit down and find lots of groups. Because in order to find a few good groups, you might need to join 20. And I want to set the standard high here, because you cannot give up by just looking for 2 or 3 groups, and then if they are not good, you're like, oh, this doesn't work. It does work. I used that strategy to sell most of my work, and I taught this strategy to an artist in 2024. She never sold art. 3 months later, 17,000 worth of art sold. And she did digital art. She printed out her art. And I know there are many artists that are actually more talented than her or me. They can crush it with this strategy, but you have to be willing to put in the time and effort and actually find really good groups. And yeah, sometimes it takes like 20 groups that you need to look for and test them out. Okay, so that's very important. Ideally, you find groups that are high quality and your posts get hundreds of likes, 50 comments or more. I have some posts that got thousands of likes and tons of comments. The next step is just like, send every single person a friend's request, even the people that liked and comment. I have one collector, she bought a painting for 24,000 USD. And you know what she did? She only liked my post in a group. That's it. She only liked it. She didn't even comment. But I started a conversation with every single person. And with her, it led to a sale that got me 24,000 USD. Pretty cool. And she bought way more, by the way. She spent probably over 35,000 now, which is amazing. I mean, already that is a big, big milestone for many artists. But if you want to make more from your art than in your job, you really have to take massive action, right? You have to chat with a lot of people. Because how do you sell art in the end? Through one-on-one conversations. If you want to sell high-ticket art. If you want to sell prints, that's another story. That's another strategy. That's volume game, right? Maria is really good in that. And I actually work with Maria on a 90-day roadmap for artists on how to build a whole system on how to sell originals and commissions, which is basically the cash infusion. And then month 2 and 3 will be about building the print system, because yeah, the prints can make you passive income, but it's not where most artists start, because you need traffic, right? In order to sell lots of prints on your website, you need lots of traffic. And there are different methods and ways on how to do that. You can build a big following, but again, then we go to Instagram, and that's about the algorithm. You need to understand the algorithm, you need to understand how all of this works, and that will take time to figure out. And another method is ads, right? But for this you need money. So either you have money saved from your job, and if you don't want to spend the money that you save on ads, I would start definitely with selling originals and commissions, because that's where you make the most money the fastest. So in order for this strategy to really make sense, you need to sell high ticket art, I would say at least for 1,000, if not 2,000 or more. But let's go back. You send every single person a message. A friend's request is important. You cannot send everyone a friend's request because of Facebook doesn't allow it to everyone, but that should be the first thing you do. And if it doesn't work, doesn't matter, send a message anyways. But you need to send friends requests to the people that you can, because otherwise it will land in the spam. So you send friends requests, you send a message, a simple message. Hey, name, thanks so much for liking my post in the XYZ group. I really appreciate it. What about the artwork spoke to you? What about the post resonated with you? Or even like, thanks so much for liking my post in the XYZ group. I really appreciate it. How are you doing? I did that with the person that bought my painting for 24,000. I just basically asked how she's doing after thanking her, and the conversation went on step by step, right? And then you need to build a relationship just through having a simple conversation. And the simple rule is ask more about them, like get to know them, be curious. And if you build relationships, you're gonna sell art. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. It's very important. If they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you, impossible to sell art. So that's your first job before you worry about selling your artwork, or if this person is the right buyer, or all these things. You first have to build relationships. And yes, I do look out for signs if they are a potential buyer or not. For example, if they're very young, they're unemployed, it's probably not a good idea to invest too much time into that person or to jump on a call, right? And even if they would have savings, at that point probably doesn't make sense to buy art. Art is a luxury, right? So you wanna talk to people that have also potentially the money to invest in art. That's important, right? So you don't want to just jump with every single person on a call or chat with every single person. You want to build relationships also to get information to see if they are your ideal buyer or not. But let's say you're talking to someone that is your ideal buyer based on like your purpose, and they also seem to have a good life. Maybe they have 2 homes, maybe they have a good job and they make a good living, and you're chatting with the person and it goes really, really well. The person is also opening up. Then the next step would be jump on a call with them, because that's where you really get to know them and where you really build the trust. And it's very, very important. And some artists ask me like, how do I know if it's the right moment to ask for a call or to jump on a call? It's pretty simple. Like if someone is responding with like 1 sentence or very short answers, it shows that they're not really opening up. They're not really ready to jump on a call. But let's say they are writing back a lot and they're really sharing about themselves and their life, and the messages get longer, and maybe here and there you send a voice message, which is a great tip, by the way. If you don't like typing, just send a voice message here and there, which also helps to build the trust faster because they are hearing your voice. And today that's important because like there are so many scammers out there, and today you don't even know what's real and what's AI anymore. So it's very important to build that trust through chatting with them, sending voice messages, and then jump on a call, right? Because when you jump on a call, it's confirmed. You are real. You're a real artist. They start liking and trusting you and knowing you, which removes a lot of concerns. Because nobody's going to spend like a few thousand on your art if they don't even know if you're real. And the concerns are really valid today, right? Because yeah, people get scammed and you really don't know anymore what's real and what's not. So if they're sending back long messages, they're opening up, and you have a good conversation via chat and some voice messages, just say something like, hey, I would love to hear more about your story. Would love to hear more about what you said, XYZ, you put in what they said. Would you be open for a quick call these days? ? Or like, would you be open for a virtual coffee? I would love to learn more about these things that you just told me. Would you be open to that? Let them say yes or no. And most people, once they already opened up, it's a quite high chance that they jump with you on a call and they will say, yes, of course, that would be great. Then you agree on a time, suggest them 2 times to jump on a call. That's literally it. And then many artists also ask me like, but what if I said I will jump with them on a call to get to know them, but then I'm actually offering my art? You're thinking in the wrong direction, because you have so much value to give beyond your art. Like your energy, your presence, your time, you listening to them, building a relationship, that's so much value that most artists don't even realize. And it's needed. It's really needed in order to sell your art. You cannot do it without. If you just, and I've done that mistake in the past too, if you just want to rush the sale and you want to get straight to the point, you can try it out, but most of the time it just doesn't work. It's like, what is more valuable? If you buy a piece of art for 2,000 where you don't even know the story, you don't know the artist, you don't know much from who created it and why the artist created it. Or you jump with them on a call and you have a beautiful, inspiring conversation. They listen to you. You feel like you know the artist, you're inspired, and now you're spending 2,000-3,000 on that art piece. And now you have a beautiful artwork that fits perfectly to you because the artist was actually listening to you and could recommend you an artwork that would really fit to you and your home. And at the same time, you have all these memories of the beautiful, inspiring call. And you know exactly why the artist created it, who the artist is, what's the story of the artist, the purpose, all of these things. Like, what is more valuable when you spend that much? People that spend money on art, they look for different things. They look for meaning. They look for connection. And nobody just wants to spend their money without really like thinking it through. I mean like deeply feeling something about it, right? Because like when we talk about selling art, it's not something anyone needs. These people are out of survival mode. And many artists, they're still in survival mode. So they cannot empathize with people that have money and that want to surround themselves with beauty, peace, love, inspiration, meaning, emotion, like luxurious things in a way, right? Because if you're in survival mode, all you need to think about is like paying your bills, making money and all of that. But usually the people that buy your art, they're out of that state. They're in a state of self-actualization. And for these people, different things matter. And if you can jump with them on a call, listen to them, have an inspiring, beautiful conversation and really connect to them, that's a game changer. And that will raise the perceived value of your art tenfold. That's how I went from selling my art for a few hundred or 1,000 to suddenly selling it for like 5,000, 9,000, 24,000 because of that one small change that I made. Before I tried to sell on Messenger, but it was really hard. Most people ignored me. But when I started to jump with people on a call, it changed everything and I was able to raise my prices and sell much more. And what do you do on the call? That's another question. If you just keep this one thing in mind, it's going to make it so much easier. And it will remove the question, what are you going to say and do and how do you sell it? Like very simple, just listen more than you talk. 80-20 rule. Listen 80% of the time and talk 20% of the time. And the 20% of the time that you're talking, share something about you as an artist. Share your purpose. Show some of your artworks. Ask them what they like about it, if they like one, right? But really like the 80% of listening, it almost sounds counterintuitive to listen more than you talk because you feel like you need to sell, but you don't really need to sell. The sales happen from itself. They happen naturally, automatically, if you really make them feel seen, heard, and understood. And some of the people will ask you, do you sell your art? Is it for sale? Or like, I love this piece. Is it for sale? And then you can make them an offer. You say, yes, it is. And you talk about the price and all the details. But many times also people are scared to ask because art is confusing. Right? Nobody really knows how much an artwork costs. It can be 500 to 50,000 or even more. Nobody really, like someone that's not in the art world, they don't understand how it works. So it's also your job to just ask them, like, would you want to own one of my pieces? Such a simple question. But when I started asking that, people bought my art. I didn't just rely on people asking me because I know that some people are confused or scared to ask. So I do them a favor in asking that question in the end. And the person that bought the painting for 24K, I asked her if she would be interested. She actually said no, which is not a problem. But she came back 2 weeks later because she was thinking about the question if she wants to own one of my pieces. And she realized after 2 weeks, yes, I actually would love to. And I remember this painting that you showed me. It's really beautiful. I love it. Is it for sale? Do you still have it? And that's how she ended up buying it for 24K. So don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate it. But if you want to make more money with your art and in your job, you have to do a lot of that, right? Just 1-2 people on a call per month is not going to do it. Right? How much do you work in your job? Probably 8 hours a day, right? And of course, it's clear you cannot spend 8 hours a day on your art career. But you need to do as much as you can. Right? You need to have like 1-2 calls a day ideally. And you can do that actually even if you have a day job. And that will lead to about like maybe 5 to 10 calls a week, which is really, really good. So how many calls are these per week? 20 to 40 calls, that's a lot. That's a lot of opportunities to actually sell your art. Even if you do 20 per month, even if you do 10 per month, that's already so much more than most artists will ever do. But the more you do, the more you guarantee your future as an artist. It's very important. You know, in 2020, I still had a full-time job in the beginning of the year, but I had a burning desire to quit my job. So I did whatever I could on the side to talk to people, to jump on calls, and to offer my art. And since I did that relatively fast, and I think it was around May, August, don't fully remember the month, I made like 26,000 within 45 days. And that was actually the moment where I quit my job. I think it was before that. It was somewhere in summer, but anyways. And I really took this too hard. I jumped with people on calls. I did things differently. And how many artists do you know that actually do that, right? If you want to achieve something that many artists don't achieve, you have to do something differently. Right? Most artists that don't achieve that, they're usually hiding behind their website, they're painting all the time. They just don't want to do the marketing and business. It's scary, it's weird, right? They don't want to do it. They look for galleries, they look for someone to do the work for them. And maybe you will succeed with that, but in my experience, it's a slippery slope because it made me feel disempowered when I was looking for people to do the work for me. And I didn't even know how it works, right? I didn't know how to market my art. I didn't know how to sell. I had no business knowledge, no business experience. And then I expect to find someone that does that better than me and, does the work for me. And there are some galleries do that, but for me, it just wasn't the way. I didn't want to wait and hope and outsource my success. I wanted to take it into my own hands. And once I did that, everything changed. I hope this video helps you. If you want to watch more videos, check out my YouTube channel because I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of videos on how to do all of these things. And if you want personal help, join my mastermind. We have a free trial only till the 30th of November. So that's a unique opportunity for you to come into the mastermind, ask for help, make a game plan, and go through some of our trainings from me and Maria that actually have sold lots of art. And you can do that absolutely for free, no risk. You can cancel anytime, only till the 30th of November. So I hope to see you inside of the community. And if you join, send me a message and let's make a game plan. Peace.